So what does everybody think about the song? What does everybody think about the song? Do you like it? Uh-huh. It's not. I'm about to translate the song. I don't know if I can read this out loud on stream. All right. So here's the translation. No, it's the smile of the princess is spectacular. It's the impression when I take her to the mess. She doesn't call her friends. She can handle it by herself. She rides 3 and 3 more. So me, you, we put it in her. The crew arrived. We are the chasers. Spank that. Share this. You're going to ride hard on the boys from the favela. So me, you, we put it in her. Yeah. Jesus. I mean, the song, though, is amazing. It is a beautiful song. It is written so well. I love it so much. Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is. Good song, though. Pretty song. And it makes me realize that I like Brazilian music a lot. Moving on. Let's see. What is this? Ooh, Lo-Fi Girl. Here we go. Yeah, this will do. Anyways, how is everybody doing? Hello. Let's do all my normal things. You ready? Oh, I'm going to jam to it. It's a good song. And it was written back in like the 80s, so, you know. All right, Addie, thank you for getting first. Addie, Crucified. Wait, who got second? There, Dwarf, thank you for getting second. And Brookie, thank you for getting third. The pizza's not bad. I mean, it's cheap, so, you know, it's cheap pizza. But any pizza's good. And thank you for getting third, Brookie. Oh, shoot, don't spill on me, please. All right, and let's do... Thank you, Carmia. Hello, Carmia. Thank you for checking in. And hello, Addie. Thank you for checking in. Dwarf. Hello, Brookie. Hello, Teal Snow. Hello, Anya. Hello, Ocean. Hello, Assassin Angel. Hello, Sif. Hi, Sif. Sif, I noticed you have my notifications turned on Twitter, don't you? Hello, Moon. And hello, Sakona. And hello, Echo. Oh, it's amazing. And hello. Who else has checked in today? Hadu Kenny, hello, Ben. Hello, Silver Fang Rose, Ninx. And hello, Convelexity. And hello, Key, how you doing? Hello. I'm here way too much. Do I book a holiday? Cut me a no, don't. I mean, y'all have some big stream streaks. This thing just hit off and you already have like 7 days. How's that possible? Are y'all cheating? Are y'all hacking the system? What's going on here? Brazilian music is so good, though. I know most of it is like, you know, pornographic, but still, it's so good. People who know how to write a beat. I did, yeah, I totally did the German accent already, chat. I already did the German accent. I'm not, my lovely little voidlings. I've totally done the German accent. You don't, no, shush. I've been German the whole time. What do you mean? All right, give me a second, see if I can find one. I have stretch and I have hydrate. Okay, let's see. Der du von dem Himmel bist, alles lehnt und Schmerzen still ist, denn der doppelt eilend ist, doppelt mit Erquickung voll ist. Ach, ich bin des Treibens müde. I'm mispronouncing most of this. Was soll all der Schmerz und Lust? Süße Fremde, komm, ach, komm in mein Brust. Wait. Wait. Okay, now the translation is a little bit better. Thou that from the heavens art, every pain and sorrow stillest, and the doubly wretched heart, doubly with refreshment fillest. I am weary with contending, why this pain and desire, peace descending, come, ah, come into my breast. As in lay on my chest, not what we were thinking. I am not early, actually. Technically, I'm more than an hour late. Frühling lasst sein blaues Band weiterflattern durch die Lüfte, so's wohlbekannt Duft, streifen allungswohl das Land. Weilichen Traumen schon wollen balde kommen. Hörsch von fern ein leiser Harfeften. Frühling, ja, du bist, dich hab ich vernommen. There you go. Spring lets its blue ribbon once again flutter through the airs. Sweet, well-known scents pretentiously streak the country. Violets already dream. Want to soon come. Listen from far away, a sweet harp. Spring, it's you. I've heard you. I like that. Okay, chat. Lovelies. Sweet people. Mwah. How are you doing today? Oh, head pats. Thank you for the head pats. Sorry I missed it. I still haven't done the thing where I make the thing, you know, how it does. Okay, so, plans for today. I do have plans on playing this Minecraft mod. No. So I am planning on playing. I am planning on playing this Minecraft mod. Zombie mod. Looks like it's gonna be fun. Am I gonna do anything else? My brain is just immediately. Oh, wait a second. Anyways, hello. Oh, lovely to meet you as well. What TikTok was it that you found? Is it a good one? Or was it a bad one? Pickles, who knows? I need to stop doing that. Okay, wait. I'm getting comfortable. I'm comfortable. I don't need to lean forward into my mic. Chat, can you hear me okay? Do I sound beautiful? Am I good? Am I sexy? Am I attractive? I mean, am I, my voice, you know, nice? Can you hear me all right? Good. I'm so happy I sound good. All of those things come back closer and whisper in our ears. Hey, chat, I stole your kidney while you weren't looking. I'm sorry. But yeah. Don't worry about that. What? Nothing. No more. It's still there. It's totally still there. Look, I needed pizza. I needed the pizza. And I was gonna use my own kidneys? No. I might have, only needed one kidney, but well, you don't have any kid. What? Huh? What do you mean you have no kidneys? What happened to your kidneys? How are you alive? No, sorry. One sec. I was actually turning that on earlier, then I got distracted. My ADD. Whew, boy. Oh boy. My ADD is on. My ADD doesn't sound right. ADD. My ADD. No, but I have ADD, not ADHD. I still have the hyperactivity, but I technically have ADD. That's what I'm diagnosed with. I don't want to add anything. Stop trying to add things. It's going to make it even more difficult. My ADD, there we go. I don't remember what I was going to say anymore. It's gone. Help! Did they change the... Okay, well, you know, it is whatever it is. It's not even called ADD anymore? I'm sorry, I'm too old to know what the new... so I do have... So, Chad, do you want to hear about the computer that died because it was speaking French? Don't bonk me! Hey! Stop it! Okay, so, for those of you who don't know, I work fixing computers, well, as part of my job, but many things. And a coworker, we have people who are in Canada, and he's on this guy's computer, and he's like, oh, okay, let me go into the computer, and I'm gonna just, like, you know, admin access this thing. For those of you who don't know, you right-click, you select admin access, bam, you're done. Well, it was all in French, because this is French-Canadian. And so he's trying to do this and hit the admin thing, and it gives a pop-up, and it says, oh, put in your credentials. And he's like, that's what I'm expecting. And he puts in his credentials. He was trying to get into Software Center, which is the application we use to push updates to computers and push software onto computers. It's on most computers, like any enterprise computers have it. He deleted it, which means the computer could no longer get things and updates and stuff sent to it anymore, meaning any program that he wanted was now... He was SOL. He had no luck of getting it back. So basically, we had to completely rebuild the computer because of the French language. Yes. Do you not know what SOL is? Oh, okay. You know, I'm trying to cut down on my... There we go. Thank you, Con. Oh, y'all can swear for me. I'm trying not to swear anymore. What are you confused about, Spell? Do we need to slow down? I can tell the story again. With less slang. Okay. Thing that you need to run the computer. The guy uninstalled it because it was in French. Because the computer he was remoted into was in Canada. And because he was trying to hit admin access, instead he hit uninstall, and it gave him a pop-up, and he was just like, oh, I'm expecting a pop-up. Well, the pop-up said, are you sure you want to install this? Type in your username and password to confirm. Yeah. I mean, it happens. Okay, and I have one more thing to talk about, because I've wrote it down. And where is it? Stream ideas. This is important, because I've been having these things, and every time I end stream, I'm like, okay, you see a blind man? Is it me? I see a little silhouette of a man, Scaramouche, Scaramouche, gonna do the fandango. Thunderbolt and lightning, very, very frightening me. Anyways, stream stuff, computer books of French. Oh! Also, I discovered that I watch Crunchyroll in the worst way possible. Do y'all know what Crunchyroll is? Lovely app. Watch anime. Normally, you know, you go to crunchyroll.com, you sign up for it, and you're good. Well, for some reason, I got recommended a Crunchyroll add-on in YouTube. And so I decided to sign up for it because I get like 7 days free. Have y'all ever seen how channels are, like premium channels are given to you on YouTube? So it's like a normal like YouTube subscriber page, except there's no search button. There's no easy way to actually find the anime. You have to scroll through a list of anime. Not in alphabetical order, just in what's been released recently. And then when you watch it, it will start over whatever episode you're on. So it is just the absolute most painful possible way for me to go through and watch anime. But I got 7 days for free, so it allowed me to watch the Gachagura, whatever it was called. I was watching, or Gachakura? Gachakura. I watched all of To Be Hero X. I'm watching Solo Leveling because I love the webtoon. It was really good.
Everyone gets your asses down here to the cages. I've got cookies and brownies and matches and gasoline. Let's snack an arm.
Wow. I watched a bunch of stuff. I'm watching a lot of stuff for inspiration for all the writing things. Yes. Where'd the music go? But yes, it's going to be cool. It's going to be cool. Now Time's not here? Oh, hello. Thank you for following Phantom Wolf. But yeah, man, I mean, Gachakudo, I think is what it's called. Let me make sure. Gachakudo. Yeah. Is so good. It is so good. The style is amazing. The powers being around items is so cool. And just like all of it is so cool. Love it so much. The best. The absolute best. Honestly, if it does not become one of the new top 3, I'm going to be disappointed. Because that just means that the series would have ended too soon. Yeah, Gachakudo. Wow. First letter wrong. Gachakuta. That's how you spell it. It's really good. I could also type it, but I refuse. I refuse. I'm not going to do it. Somebody else can type it. If you want to go old school, Roni Kenshin. No, don't watch Roni Kenshin. Change of plans. Samurai Champloo. So good. Iconic. Love it so much. Both Full Metal Alchemists are pretty good. Stuck on the tongue. What tongue? This tongue? Trigun. I don't know about the new Trigun, but the OG one is great. One of my all-time favorites. Bleach if you want something long. Naruto classic. Yu Yu Hakusho if you want really old school. And you like tournament arcs. Oh, I love tournament arcs, yeah. Every anime needs to have a tournament arc. And it's so upsetting when anime don't have tournament arcs. Because it's just the best. It's hey, this person has a power, and we're gonna explain how the power works, and then they use the power, and it's like, oh look, but this power works in this way, and look how clever they are using this power against that power. It's the best. I want to be in an anime where I get to be in a tournament and just make grunting noises for an entire session. Just go, Attack on Titan's pretty good. I have not watched Jujutsu Kaisen yet. Exactly. I am an anime boy. So I should be, like, instantly cast. I mean, yeah, you know, and then they took their clothes off and wait, nope, different thing. VA lesson stat class. Ples? Okay, so first, you're gonna need to get a microphone. All right. Oh, Bakano. Yes. Bakano. One of my all-time favorites, and it is so cool. It is like, what is it, 12 episodes or something? And each episode is a different part of the same story, and you'll see different characters' perspectives of the same story, and it is just mind-blowing. So cool. And I love, like, the Americanish characters. And, like, it has, like, mystic powers and magic and weird murderers and a robbery and all sorts of stuff. And it's just like, wow. So good. Okay, voice acting lesson 1. Get a microphone. Go to the microphone and go. And then remember, just talk. And you say words. You go, hello. And you can go up, hello. And you can go down, hello. You can go lower, hello. And then higher, hello. And work on that. Ghost in the Shell is also good. Yes. If you want to actually, like, get good at voice acting, I haven't done this fully yet, but I've done parts of this, and it's a very good lesson. How to do 1,000 voices. Is it 1,000 voices? Yeah, here it is. Oh, 100 voices. So this is how to do 100 different voices. It is a great video. I suggest anybody who wants to do voice acting, definitely check out this video. It breaks down the voice into a few different categories, and so you can learn how to, like, move and adjust your voice. But if you follow along, It's a simple thing. It's like, okay, you want to adjust the tempo of your voice. So whether you talk a little bit faster or you talk a little bit slower, your pitch, talking a little bit higher or talking lower. And you take those and you mix them together. So maybe you have a fast, deep voice, or you have a slow, high-pitched voice, or more airy voice, and it gives you all these little categories that you can do, and you swap out. And by the end of it, like if you figure it all out, it's like over 1,000 different voices you can do. But knowing these traits and focusing on these traits is amazing for just expanding your range. And honestly, my experience with voice acting, though, is just mess around, be goofy, be a character, get angry at people and make fun of them, look at a guy and think, I wonder what his voice would be like, and copy it. It's fun. That's what I do. I'll go in the car and be like, I'll just start doing Kermit the Frog at everybody. or doing Mickey Mouse whenever I get angry. It makes me feel a lot better. Anyways. So, Minecraft. We're going to be doing Minecraft today. Not show Minecraft. It's going to be a zombie apocalypse survival Minecraft. It is an older version of Minecraft. Practice. Of course, always practice. And for accents, you just need to, you listen to somebody, you figure out what they do, where they hold the voice, and then you can do that. And as you get more conscious of it, which, like, I hate this explanation right now that I'm about to give, you'll feel where the voice sits, whether it's in your throat or whether it's like further up in your mouth. Yeah. And that is like the thing that's like, because people, when they tell me to sing, they're like, oh, like feel it reverberate in your chest. And I'm like, I don't feel anything there. I'm like, well, feel it here. I'm like, I don't feel anything there. Like, feel it here. I'm like, I don't feel anything there. It makes sense when it's up in my face, but not when you're talking about my stomach. But maybe that's a personal issue I have. I also had like therapists being like, tell me, where do you feel this emotion? Like, I don't, my head, I guess. Yeah, what do you mean? But yeah, once you get used to voices, you'll start feeling them in different places. And that makes it a lot easier to imitate, because when you hear a voice, you can be like, that voice is in the back of the throat. Or that voice is more tight or loose or whatever, and it will make sense. What am I doing? Right, Minecraft. Hello, dragon with a beard. I like you. I like your name. It's a cool name. Okay, so chat, we are going to be doing Minecraft. Oh, that's the thing. For most people, I guess you can, but I don't feel it. Like my ex used to be like, oh yeah, like she'd feel cold in her limbs when she would like feel a certain way, and like the heat would leave her body, and she'd feel tightness in her chest, and she'd feel like this different feeling. Like, cool. I feel mad. I don't know what you're feeling, but mine is blue. And the only time I feel like different temperature is if like it makes me move. Yes, Minecraft. We're going to be doing modded Minecraft. It is going to be a zombie survival. It should not be scary. You did. But I like talking. Y'all, this is why I'm here. Because this is the best thing for me. Oh, I was that kid. Allie, I don't believe you. I was that kid who would always be told by people, you talk too much. Stop talking. And I didn't listen. I never listened. And now, y'all are stuck here, sitting in an audience, forced to talk to me. But like, I'm the focus. Do you know how great this is? Like, this is everything I wanted as a child. Y'all are strapped in. All you can do is type to me, and I have domination of this conversation. I don't know what kind of thing satisfies in me, but like, I love it. Well, and you all are willingly here, and you can leave whenever you want, and I won't notice. And that's the best part, because like, if you want to leave, you can leave, and that's fine. But like, it won't stop my rhythm unless you're like standing there, talking to everybody, and then you see like somebody leave the room. Like, do you know how like disheartening that is to see somebody? I had Vanya change one emote because it made me sad. The reason why the 7TV emote bye is the dog vanishing is because before it was a smiley face waving bye, and my brain was like, why are they leaving? Do they not like me? And it was so like, I don't know. It did something in my brain, so I had Vanya change it to the little dog fading away, and that's much better. And see, that's cute. I'm fine with that. Though I think if everybody had that emote, that might bother me. Okay, Minecraft. We good with Minecraft? You good watching me try out this mod? Have some fun with it. See the goofiness of it? It is a zombie survival mod. It is on an older version of Minecraft because I wanted to use their map. Apparently it has like a whole story. I'm paying $6 for this map. But they're building a new map that I'm waiting for. Once they build the giant new map, when it's going to be the newer release, it's going to be a lot cooler. No, that's not what I wanted to load. Where is it? CurseForge. Only if you like, so this is a custom made Minecraft map. And hello, Palmo. And the person who made this map, like, has it locked on their Patreon. So, like, it's technically not locked, but it is locked. Promo. Oh, hello, Phantom Wolf. I didn't realize you were new. I like your name. What's up, what's up, what's up? Oh, so let's make sure the notifications are turned on. There we go. Okay, notification audio should be on so that I can actually see when people raid in. Oh, also, we need to check on something real quick. Oh, good. Okay, that's working. That's fine, right? You're on your lunch break. Ooh. What are you having for lunch? It's a good lunch. We do have a lot of new people here, so some of you might not know about this. Lovely new people. It's good to meet you. It's good to meet you. My name's LuckyJene. I'm a gambler, a writer, and a soon-to-be villain. We're still working on getting registered and everything, but like, I just need you to step a few steps back real quick. Just you know, be right. Come on. You got perfect. You're doing good. You're doing great. Thank you. There we go. Okay, perfect. We have some more people. Welcome. I hope you enjoy your time here. Well, okay, so first I kind of have to achieve, like, you know, certain accomplishments to be a good villain, and for them to actually recognize me as a villain. And right now it's more of like getting enough people to think I'm a villain. And so I need more supporters. At least 70 average. Once I have like 70 average people seeing every one of my crimes, heists, and encounters, then we can be a true villain. I mean, like, only F tier, but, you know, it is what it is. I'll happily be F tier, though. Because, you know, yeah, I need more goons. I do need more goons. I need so many more goons, chat. You don't even know. All right, we're going to see if this is working. All right. I lost Minecraft. Okay, let's see if it worked. Shoot. Nope, didn't work yet. 1 second, lovelies. Behave yourselves while I do a thing. Don't do anything wrong, my little voidlings. Behave. Be good. I have to swap out a save real quick. I'm gonna delete this one. No crimes. No crimes. Be good. Behave yourselves. All of you. All of you. There we go.
And here the innocent Jean thinks we'll behave, but we must arson.
You do not need to arson. You legally do not have to arson. Why would you ever need to arson? Explain this to me. No, don't. No, why? God, even you, Wolfie? Even you, Phantom? You corrupt them, Chad. When we bring in anybody new and you immediately corrupt people. Y'all know you're still locked in the cage, right? Carbia, no! You don't need to. The dog rubbing its butt against the floor. I love that. Oh, I love that. Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, I've heard of Whiskey Dingo. Chat, y'all, someone was telling me about Whiskey Dingo. Haven't seen them before, but I think they're a good streamer. Your plushies. Oh, no. Don't allow them to hurt your plushies. His name is Nini? Nene? Who? Nini? My name? Nene. Neen. Ah, I'm Neen now. Mm-hmm. We're Neen. Kermit can twerk all he wants. Kermit can twerk all he wants. Ooh. Y'all, I'll be right back. Give me like a split second. Wow. Sorry about that, y'all. Need to get sinus meds. We're back. Mwah. Hope you didn't miss me too much. I just needed to get some sinus meds because I was feeling really, really stuffed. Okay, we're back. What do you mean you did nothing? What did you do? Did y'all set more fire the second I left? Chat, whatever would I do with you? Whatever will I do with you? Love you forever? Feed you? After you commit... After the arson? Really? Okay, let's see if this worked this time. Alright. Turn you into yonder... Yep, it's working! Sweet. Okay. Good. Wait, could I turn you into an army? Yes, this is a zombie, Minecraft mod. Oh, we're gonna turn off the music for now. because I like my music better. There you go. It's not scary. It's Minecraft. But yes, this is a custom map made for this custom mod pack. Apparently they're working on a giant version, but there is... Hey, thank you for the follow. All right, you ready? Did you just win? Congratulations on winning. Here, let me gift you a sub. All right. Come on. There you go. Congratulations on your free sub. Okay. We're gonna move everything around here a little bit. I think this is gonna be important. We'll keep the knife down here. Can I wield this in the offhand? I cannot. All right. Did that just win again? I wonder if it's broke. Technically, I won the second one, so that one doesn't count. So I saw this because we raided into a vigilante the other day. Y'all remember that one? And she was playing this like as an SMP, which I thought was really, really cool. It might be. Okay. Uh-oh. Okay. 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 We're gonna... There we go. Oh, there's an idea. See, I can swap between the gun and the knife. So if I need to close doors and open doors. We got that. Perfect. Oh, this is getting tough already. Hello, Cornelia. How you doing? How you doing, sweetie? How's your day been? I don't know if I need water. I think we need water. I'm just going to assume. Cool. Yeah. Snuggled up in bed. I am jealous. Oh yeah. Sorry. I'm so intrigued by this right now that I'm like half mentally checked out right now. I do apologize, chat. I will be better in a bit. This feels like cheating. Oh no. Okay, what was only kind of cheating? I guess they won. Okay. Hi, Vanya. Good morning, good morning, good morning. By the way, if the game is too loud, please let me know, okay? Oh, look at all this. Look at all this stuff. Oh, this is kind of cool, actually. I was not expecting all of this. What are you squinting at, Vanyas? Go wash your face. Oh. Wash my face. Why are you squinting at me? What did I do? Oh, wait, I don't have my gaming hands up. Sorry. There we go. Now we're gaming. Oh, shoot. Wait. I don't know how to start the car. I'm stuck. No. Ah! I got this. I refuse all kisses right now. I'm focusing. What is Farmer's Delight? P. Wait, no. P. I give up. I'm not P. Oh, licking is fine then. That's fine. Okay. A wrench. Attack a vehicle part to remove it. Okay, flint and steel. Bandages. Nice. Cobweb. Cool. I was gonna take everything. Thank you for the follow. Thank you. Honestly, all this looks so unique. I'm out of my depth immediately. What do you mean a belt pouch? What do you mean a belt? Oh, good night, Nia. You sleep well, okay? Game is just letting me instantly one-hit these bricks. Wait. There's food. Right? Here. We aren't hard. This is not creative, right? This is normal game mode. That one's fine. Why do those bricks break so easily? Huh. Weird. I ain't gonna question it too much. Wow. Wow, Neeks. Wow. Oh. Yeah. My health is on the... Oh. Am I blocking the health? Health should be on the right side. Oh, no, it's on the right side of the bar. Oh, not health. Sorry. I mean, on the top left. On the top left of the screen. I died. Oh, wow. Okay. Yes. You can damage your limbs. And so it's based on the damage that gets done to limbs. Maybe I can get my gun back if I get lucky here. If this is too difficult and I don't make it anywhere. Let me hear your worst height joke. Come on, give it to me. I know, right? God, I'm so awful. Ah! Gun, please, gun, please, gun, please. Any weapon. I don't want cardboard boxes. The air is harder to breathe up here. Oh, by the way, if you do feel like you're maybe out of sync with stream, you may need to refresh stream. Just a heads up, okay? Can I open these? Okay, I think through the door. I do not hit my head on door frames. I'm not that tall. Wow. Wow. Rude. Nothing in there. 6 feet from the edge, and I'm thinking maybe something is so far back. Chat, how tall are you all? Let's actually think about this one. How tall is everybody here? Oh, look. Oh, shoot. Not this again. Get away from me, shorty. 5'2". Yeah, you're average. Averagely short. Still 5'5". Sounds good. 5'5". Really? How are you all this? Ooh. Before burning those many times. Oh, we have a knife. We have a knife, chat. Wait, will this work? No, we just have cardboard boxes. I don't know what to do with them. They are shorties. Gimme. Axe, sweet. We've upgraded. I would not survive this IRL. Oh. From a poor family, from a short family, spare him his life from his monstrosities. Oh. Chat, I have a bad feeling about this. Did I lose all my stuff? Wait, no. Wait, no. I lost all my stuff. This is insane. Oh, no. I got nothing. I got a knife and an axe. I have no gun. I blame you, chat. I blame you, my lovely voidlings. Yeah, but I don't want to drink my own pee, thank you. The one thing I do not want to do. I know, right? I'll be more American. I promise. I'll become more American as soon as I can. Once they give me the light back. Did I pick up a body? I don't want a corpse. You got hungry. Wait, why am I... Okay, there's nothing in them. Got it. What is wrong with my tongue? Ow! 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 Stop it! Stop it! What the Ah! Oh no! There we go. Give me something good, give me something good. Nada. Nilch. Nothing. Don't joke like that. I would be so upset if anything ever happened to Nav. Okay, did we get an axe back? I may have chosen the wrong place to live. We got a knife at least. Jelly and jam. Ooh. Jelly. Because jam don't shake like that. Ooh, somebody had a lovely... Is this just wood? A knife! Exactly. You're so predictable. Palma, why are you predictable? What'd you do? What'd you do, sweetie? Redeem. Well, I suppose you're doing this again. Okay, so this is the German Redeem, for those of you who don't know. Ich kann ein bisschen Deutsch sprechen, aber ich spreche nicht so gut. Und wann Leute will, dass ich habe ein deutsches Akzent, ich mache dieser hier. Okay, anyways, so wer wir? We have Leo here. Sec 9. There we are. Can I get in here? Maybe, mayhaps? No. How is the game going? I do not know. It's too dark to see, actually. Let me turn the brightness up. Brightness moody. Okay. There we go, chat. Oh, look, you can see now. I'll turn down the brightness later. I think you get like a flashlight or something, but let's actually be able to see the game. The one loses market. I'm trying to break and enter. They're making it very difficult. Okay. Can I take this? They will not give. A gun! Oh, we can tell we're in America now, chat. Look at this! This is how we know we're in America. Citizen has been reclaimed. I am now... Well, you know. Gun equals America. You know this. Hello. There we are. Oh, these are storage shelves. That's so cool. Oh, I love that. Exactly. And we have the cardboard boxes. There we are. Bang, bang. Bang, bang, enter the room. Carrots, sehr gut, sehr gut. Brauche ich was anderes? Nein. Hello, Neon, how you doing? Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to watch you once again. Do 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 do. Aua! Why were you waiting here for so long? Do I like you? Of course I like you. I like all of you. Why would I not like you? You're all very, very lovely. Chat. Double America! We are increasing our Americanness constantly. Looks like it's the end of the road for me. I got nicked by one of those freaks, but that's how it ends. I'm not going to let myself become one of them. I cover the pages are stained with blood. Oh, cool. No, little German man. Hello! We almost died, chat. And I would have blamed you. Could you imagine that? I would have blamed you again. No, it does not look like I can double VOD, unfortunately. Hook. You can take it? I believe it. Can I take this trash can? I kind of want this trash can. Addis. Okay, good. How long do I have on... Ah, that's too fast, too fast! There are things in there I could use. Exactly. I'll just throw my controller at you. It's fine. Bullets. There we go. That's the America I know and love. Bullets. Can you nibble? No. Chat, are you zombies? Have you been zombies this whole time? Did you get bitten? Chat, you tell me if you got bitten, right? Cheetah. What do you mean, cheetah? There's no cheating. I have never cheated in my life, except when I cheated. If we may or may not smooch. Dwarf, are you a zombie? Did TTS not work? Did the TTS not work? Oh, one of you broke the TTS. I can't believe you. Okay, here we go. Alright, let's figure it out. Give me a second. Tangia. Interactive streaming. Join. What did you try to make it say? Do you know what happened? You all used so much of it that they're limiting my months. Okay. We now have more. You used 22,000 entries of text. 22,000. So we are now at. You can now do. Oh, sorry. Used. Yes, we can now do 60,000. So I might end up having to increase the point value. Always yapping. But you're cute, Yappers. That's all that matters. Hello, Millie. How you doing? Well, this is not good. Take painkillers. Oh, that's drugs. Oh, that's drugs. It was fun, though, wasn't it? Also, we can increase the limit by having more paid ones. So I'll make sure to push days where we have only the paid ones up. Who's streaking? Thank you for the lurkies. There are too many of you. Let me out. Okay, now I can stop this voice. We're good. That voice must have got frustrating, didn't it, chat? Spicy Nuna, you're in his walls? You missed Leo. Leo has only just left. My goodness. God. The hell was that? And god damn it, now we're stuck in Southern. So hello, I guess this is what we're doing next. Oh. Alright, I forgot to close the... There ain't no door there to close. Y'all with your goofing needs and wants. I can't believe y'all. Want a brownie? What kind of brownie we talking? Why have I not been offered a brownie, chat? Scared me too. God forbid I'm Texas girl I like Southern. You know what? You're right. You're right. You're so real for that.
You what?
What? Ah, here we go. Can I open this door? No. Can I make a crafting table? Ain't got any wood. What if I do this? Nothing. Alright. I do it super well? Nah, I think my voice is kind of subpar, to be honest, when it comes to this one. My Southern? Yeah, my Southern's not that good. My Southern's probably one of my worst ones. Honestly. I'm Moon. Hello, Moonflower. How you doing, gorgeous? I smell like chocolate right now. I do not smell like chocolate. I mean, I don't think it's... I appreciate it, though. Grabbing all them dings. There we go. There they are. Ain't nothing worthwhile. I am doing all right. I think this place is kind of cute. What? 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 Huh? Give me my gun back. Give me my gun. Let me out. Let me out. Let me out. Hello, Kimizu. How you doing, sweetie? Oh, now we're hungry. Of course we are. Wait, who sounds like a character from what? Who sounds like what? Are you saying I sound like a character from Hell of a Boss? I ain't sure I like that one. Not one bit. What do you mean I sound like a character from Hell of a Boss? Explain. Chat, the spatula do more damage. Do I sound like a character from Hell of a Boss? That ain't no way. Yeah? What? Sound like I'm related to Millie. Who, Millie? Millie here? Millie, I'm related to you? When this happened? How this happened? Millie is in hell of a... Millie, you're in hell of a boss? I ain't seen the show yet, but honestly, kind of impressive. How'd you get cast? We eating beans. So I had to eat your beans. Wait, who's Moxie? Backpack, backpack, backpack. Can I take you with me? Please. How do I pick you up? Let me pick you up. Let me pick you up. Ah, backpack! Backpack! Backpack, 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 backpack. I'm so excited you don't even know. You don't even know how excited I am. Mm-hmm. Backpack. Able to get wet. Hello, Lisa. How you doing, sweetie? Oh, we could play Water Park Simulator as well. I hadn't thought about that one. If y'all get bored of this game, let me know, all right? Coming out October 29th. Oh my God, Silva, really? That easy? Not implemented yet. Am I gonna put you in another bush prison? I'm gonna try. Uh-huh, uh-huh. I'm sure, Silva. I'm sure. Spelling is hard. Prove it right now. Spell for me. Spell for me, but do it poorly. There you go. Spelling is hard. Valid. I believe you now. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, even though the sound of it is something quite precocious. No, not precocious. Even though the sound of it is something quite... If you say it loud enough, you'll always sound precocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Thank you. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious. If you say it loud enough, you always sound precocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Dum diddly dum diddly dum diddly dum diddly. Thank you. Mug. 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 Ah! 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 What am I taking damage for? Why am I warm? Give me ice. What's happening? Ah! Well, this is fun. But I think I'm going to play something else different, chat. All right, let's find something better to play. As much as I like Minecraft, there's too much stuff for me to figure out. And it seems like it's going to be fun to just, you know, chill out with and oh, what else do we got? Stretch. And I'm such a good doggy. There you go. All right, it looks like it'll be fun to play at some point in time, but right now it's a bit much for me. So let's see, what else can we do? What else have we been doing lately? Raw. Chad, I'm so glad you can't see my screen because, ooh, well, nope, we're not playing that game. Raw. Hello, Cheshire Bones, how you doing? Hope you're having a lovely, lovely day. Play Skull. I don't own that game. What is Skull Hotel? No, we don't gotta do that. Good, how's it going? It's going pretty good. Oh, did they release this game yet? Let's see if it's out yet. Shift at Midnight? Dang, that one was fun though. I hope it comes out soon. It's gonna be so cool. Wait.
Janetta Mama, what are the Voidlings? I need info and I'm going cray-cray over it. I don't need sleep, I need answers.
Have you seen the Voidlands? Chad, have y'all seen the Voidlands? Oh, thank you. I'll take a corner piece, please. Pink, have you not seen the Voidlands before? You haven't? Oh, man, I've been showing them off so often. All right, you know what? We'll do that. We're going to show them off for just a little bit, all right? All right, so, for those of you who don't know, I'm going to be rebranding soon. Not rebranding, really, but I'm going to be coming back as a villain. And so part of the lore is that Jane can pull out these little things from the void that are called Voidlands. It uses a little special power he acquired, and they are the chat mascot and, you know, chat self-inserts. They can be drawn in any sort of way. There's animal versions of them that we have the lovely Vo's currently working on. Akko's working on their persona right now. And once we get closer to actually doing, you know, the drops on like, you know, trying to do the fundraiser and everything for the new model, we're going to be dropping the art for it so that people can draw their own personas. We can get people hyped, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So, to start with, here are the Voidlands. You got two versions. You got the black Voidlands and the white Voidlands. Well, they represent good luck and bad luck. Right. And so these are the things that are going to be replacing some of the emotes. They're going to be drawn like this, with this little character going to be doing different kind of emotes. So yeah, them the Voidlands. And none of y'all have seen the new model art, have you? I mean, how many people we got here today? Yeah, we'll go to just chatting and hang out for a little bit. I can do a little sneak peek, maybe. Maybe. Do y'all want to see the sketch for the new stuff? All right. It ain't going to be on screen for long. It ain't going to be on screen for long. And there you have it. Y'all the only ones who got the sneak preview. They're going to be absolutely lovely. We'll see when we finally get to that part. Can I stop the Southern now? Are we at that point where I can... I think... Yes. Okay, cool. Wait, how long have I been doing Southern? Way past... That was 13 minutes ago. But yes, that is the sketch Aiko's done. That is just a quick little sketch.
Sir, the sound that just came out of me, it's unnatural. And I have no idea what I did, Woodify.
Yeah, I'm currently talking to a 3D artist and a 2D artist. We're gonna get kind of quotes for both of them. I want to go 3D, but it looks like it's gonna be like potentially $4,000, $5,000, depending on what the 2D is gonna cost. We may go that way. Both though are gonna take like 6 months to get done, so we'll probably try to do the fundraiser before then. Oh, I might. Hey, Aiko, I might have done a little whoop and then whoop to do a quick preview.
Gene, what did you show them?
Yes. Because they are the people here who are watching. I will not be posting it publicly. Are you okay? One second. One second, chat. I'll be right back. Oh, sorry. We're back. What were people asking about? Rigging and animation and, huh? I missed something. Chat, I looked away for a second. Oh, no. So the models needs to be, first you have to make the model. Then it has to be split up into multiple layers. So like hair and everything. I mean, like you can see with this one, the hair and stuff move, the mouth and everything has to be split up in its own layer. They have to be plugged into Live 2D. And so that needs to be done. Where they have to do like, it's a whole like warping process to make the movement look more, you know, natural and realistic. And the better the movement, the more expensive that's going to be. So you have to have the artist who does the model style art because like it's done in certain ways. You have to have the model rigger who actually knows how to make everything and like put it all together. And you have, of course, the model artist or like the initial like character artist, which is what Vo is doing here now, or Aiko's doing here now. But if we do 3D, it'll probably be all handled by one person who will do the modeling and rigging, and it'll be a very different process. And again, like, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. So right now I'm trying to get quotes. It starts at 4,000. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, but once we hit a 50 viewer average, which who knows when that'll be. Bye, Wolfie. We're going to try to hit a 50 viewer average. Once we hit a 50 viewer average, we'll be running a fundraiser. I'll be doing a pretty much a 24-hour stream until we try to we get the money raised for it. So I'll be streaming endlessly. We'll see how that goes. And I'll have like events. We'll have unlocks and stuff. Potentially new art drops. If we raise above the price, we'll have additional things. As well as, you know, like certain promises, including, you know, ASMR content, daily story readings, and that kind of thing. I have a whole plan of things that I would love to do that I just don't have the time for. But if I'm doing it for money, you know, worth it. Absolutely worth it. Yes. So yeah, that's the thing of like, you know, being able to do the plan would be 3 streams a day then. One stream in the morning would be the ASMR, a stream in the evening would be the gaming, and then we'd have a 1-hour stream before bed reading stories every night. But it's going to be a tier to unlock, as well as, you know, the launching of the Patreon with all the ASMR audios that people have been wanting. That'll be its own thing. Everything from cooking streams to writing to lots of stuff. So everything that y'all have been wanting me to do will be tiers. What about Discord? We do have a Discord. We currently have a Discord. It is an 18+ Discord. It does have identity verification. Perfect. Okay, let me find something else I want to play. Not that we need to play anything. We could just hang out here and talk and listen to music and be goofballs, but I feel like I should be playing something. I mean, if you really want to give an audio to somebody, that's totally fine. I did get rid of the option, but I am honoring all old ones. What could I play? No, I'm not playing that skull game. I don't want to do a major horror game right now. Now when I brought everybody... Oh, come on. Come on, Neeks. Really, Neeks? Really, Neeks? Oh. So what can I do? Chat, what are you interested in seeing? What kind of game would you like to see today? Is there anything in particular that you'd like to watch? I'll never be sick of you. Hello, Echo Rose. 5 too many games. There's so many of these I've never played. And so many of these suck. Did I ever tell you all about Contagion? Contagion used to be a game. I have all sorts of games. Contagion was a game. There's no way this game is... What? Really? I didn't realize this game was so small. I'm going to see if I can install this one. So yeah, there's a game called Contagion that I loved. It was all about how my life got flipped. No, I guess we could do 7 days. Maybe. Contagion was a zombie like game, but it was like a PvP PvE game where you would go onto a map, you'd have to hunt down other players and shoot them, but there's also zombies around the map. And it had the unique feature that zombies would only die with headshots. So if you couldn't get a headshot, the zombie would stay alive and get you. And it was cool because when you died, you would take over a zombie. And as you played the zombie, it would like build up strength. And you could start calling other zombies and form a zombie horde to try to hunt down players. And it was so much fun. It was so good. But it didn't have enough of an audience. And then I had a mode that was kind of like 7 Days to Die. Not 7 Days to Die. Left 4 Dead. Had a game mode that was like Left 4 Dead, but people played that for a while, and I guess now it's just dead. Well, the game makes you better. I mean, you get used to learning to shoot things in the head. And that's what I think is a thing. It's like, you know, you have to practice to get better. Which I had a friend who was like, I don't want to have to practice shooters to play shooters. And I was like, well, then don't try to be like top tier shooter gamer. Yeah, I mean, I wish I had a gun controller. I am trying to install Cult of Lamb right now. We'll see if I can get it installed. And I can see what kind of things I need to do for the Twitch setup. Hopefully it shouldn't be too much. Don't be excited. Don't be that excited. Maybe a little excited. Okay, fine. You can be as excited as you want. I'm also eating a little bit, so that's why I'm eating right now. No, my cheese-filled steak. Sorry, chat's going through all the loading screen right now, so I can't see chat. I know controllers recommended. I don't like playing with controllers. Don't leave. Why would you leave me? I'm sorry, Vanya. Wait. I'm trying to figure this out. Oh, apparently you have to do it while you're playing the game. Okay, 1 second. You ready? We looking good? Everybody see it? We good? We good? Audio fine? All right. Kneel. Before us stands the last of his kind. All other we've hunted down and put to the blade. With this sacrifice, the prophecy will be impossible to fulfill. The heretic who lies bound below will be condemned to eternal captivity. And the old faith shall be preserved. And we died. Chat, Pog, we're dead. Game over. Anyways, I'll see you next stream. Bye, everybody. Love you all. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Okay, we're gonna raid out. Just kidding. Imagine. Womp. Come closer, fear not, for though you are already dead, I still have need of you. I did change the category. I don't know if it's showing for you. Might need a refresh. Those foolish bishops thought they could keep me here from me in death, but instead they sent you straight to me. I will give you life again, but at a price. All I ask for you is to start a cult in my name. Do we have a deal? I guess I don't have a choice. Absolutely. Wise choice. Take the red crown which I once wore. With it, you shall command the loyalty of followers and strike fear into the heart of enemies. Return to the living land. Return to the living land. Return to the living land, the land of the living. Start a cult in my name and begin recruiting followers. Once you have done so, you will see me again. Now go. Yay. Uh-huh. You're welcome, Pink.
Should I have been like this? Lammy, kids, you're gonna start a cult in my name. The cult of Kirby.
You think you built it? Good, as you should.
Huh?
Fear not, I am Ratsu, and I was once chosen vessel like you, but those days are long to the wings. I was sent to guide you. We are deep in the lands of the old faith, and in grave danger. My instructions are to lead you to safety. Continue through the woods, escape lies ahead. I will be close by. There you go. Addy. Really? You don't think? Never mind, we're good. Is this everybody's favorite game? I'm behaving myself. All around me are familiar faces, worn-out places. Vanya's not, but Vanya's just a really good friend of mine. So that's expected. Watch out for me, watch out break my sound. Nails for me, it goes my heart underground. Oh, one sec. No.
Jean or killing Addie Stop?
How long was I muted? Did you hear me say bun? Oh, okay. Never mind then. Almighty Bishop of the Old Faith, we ask you to accept the sacrifice of this wretched soul.
Hey, who interrupts our ritual and trespasses on our sacred ground?
Thank you. For real. And we sent them to heck! It's like the cleaner PG version of hell. My village is big of... Alright. We have reached safety. You've done well. The red crown will allow you to use those markings on the ground to transport yourself great distances. It'll take you to the temple that has fallen to ruin. There, you will be able to begin your cult. I'll meet you there. There we go. Welcome to Discord.
Heretics defeated. Cleanse the non-believers. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What song? I hate myself. Let's go for it. Shun non-believers, Charlie. Shun. It's only a Pleurodon. It's only a Pleurodon, Charlie. It's gonna show us the way. Go on the ground.
Chat, we have officially lost Daddy. Bless their soul. They were killed by our cult leader, Dog. I can hear them
what?
through the Ouija board.
Shun the non-believers, shun. Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome, frenda, étranger, stranger. Glücklich zu sehen, je suis enchanté. Happy to see you, bleibe rest stay. Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome. In cabaret to cabaret of cabaret. The hallowed ground, which once we we have much to do. Don't look me! Why? Am I also getting head patted? Getting head patted at the same time. It's crazy. What? Oh, yeah, have you all not heard my cover of that song? I'm like, it's really poorly recorded, but like... Oh! Okay, let's see if I can find it.
It's a magical Liopleurodon, Charlie.
Welcome, frenda, étranger, stranger. Glücklich zu sehen, je suis enchanté. What is 5? I don't trust that one. That was on the 7th, right? We're near the 7th. He was gonna show you the way. Okay, I know one place I can find it. I know one place I can definitely find it. Give me a second. Where are they? Dang it, where'd it go? No.
I come with a proposal, O mighty being.
Okay.
I give you my soul, my body, and my being. Art.
Okay.
For the price of my beloved friend Addie. A soul for a soul, no.
How about we just give you Addie back? You can have Addie. Okay, I'm gonna find this chat. It is in DMs I've had with a few people, and so I need to find it. But it's been so long ago, because it's back January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Okay, so give me a second, because I have to go back a bunch of months. Okay, that's the 9. Okay, we're on 8. And now we're going into... Come on, come on, come on, come on. That's still 8. $8.19. Okay, 8:13. 8:10. Wow, this is insane. 8:08. Cause this is thriller, thriller night. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. Wait, did you find it, Vanya? Oh, I love you. Look at you. Thank you. I don't think I'm gonna make it. I found it already, apparently. Apparently I had it in the same folder that I put the other thing. You ready? We ready?
Welcome, welcome everybody to the stream. I have a little song to sing to you. You might have heard it before. It's from the lovely Cabaret, and we're about to sing it. In 3, 2, 3, 2, 1. Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome. Frenda, étranger, stranger. Glücklich zu sehen, je suis enchanté. Happy to see you, bleibe reste. Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome. Cabaret, au Cabaret, zu Cabaret. Meine Damen und Herren, Miss Dames et Messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, my name is LuckyJene, and tonight I am here to entertain you through gambling, through flirting, and everything else you can possibly think of. So please sit down, behave yourself, keep the drum at the door, and I am here for you. Mwah. Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome. Cabaret, oh Cabaret, to Cabaret.
So yeah, I did that for my return stream. That was my return stream audio thing. So yeah. What are you eating about? Wasn't it fun? What are you eating about, Carmia? Brings joy? Well, good. I'm glad. No more swooning. Followers can gather resources for you. Order the ones to collect lumber or stone. And there we go. Oh, sweet. Okay, I'm glad you all liked it. I'm glad you all enjoyed it. Please spare me. Please spare me. So randomize them. Why not? Well, thank you. And we'll go have you chop some trees, I guess. Okay, I will soon be able to do the, Who sucks? Who sucks? What do you mean I suck? Why are you saying I suck? Da-da-da-da. Okay, gather necessary material from meals. Not you? Okay, well, I was gonna say. I do. Vel. Oh, of this, do you want to know what the name of the song is? Yes, it's Willkommen zu Cabaret. Or I think it's Willkommen. I don't remember the exact name. It goes Willkommen. So the song should have been sung up here. Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome, Frenda, entrose, stranger. Glücklich zu sehen, je suis enchanté. Happy to see you, bleibe reste stay. Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome. In cabarets of cabarets cabaret. Meine Damen und Herren, Miss Dames et Messieurs. He won't let you do anything. That's true, that's true. Have you all not seen Cabaret? Wait a second. Do you see Cabarets in public domain yet? Like the original one? We could watch it. We could watch it together. We could do the money makes the world go round, the world go round, the world go round. Money makes the world go round, it makes the world go round. Money, 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 money. A buck, a dime, a dollar, a pound. Ali, you don't like ASMR, or do you like ASMR? Okay, the fire will be here. Fire here. Do you like traditional ASMR? Or do you like my ASMR? You like all ASMR? Then I have plans. The world go round, the world go round, the world go round. Money makes the world go round, it makes the world go round. Hello, little bun. Is the bun still here, by the way? Where is the lovely, lovely bun? There's the little bun. How's my little bunny doing? This man's so goofy. No, you did nothing. Perhaps I felt that there was not enough attention going towards you. Maybe that's all it is. Alright, chat. We're going to configure this. Give me a second. I want to join the cult. Install. Activate. Status overlay 1. Replace. Done. Und configure. Okay, that should be good. Chat, you're currently blocking everything. Give me a second. I can't believe you're blocking all of this, so I can't set this up, and you were the one who wanted this. Connect with Twitch. Connect my game. Authorize. Install Twitch extension. That's already done. Okay. Okay. Viewers can spend channel points which fill up your Twitch totem bar. When bars is full, you will receive reward. Help or hinder event will happen automatically. They allow viewers to vote on either giving you a bonus or punishing you. Allowing viewers to enter a raffle to create your next follower. The follower will be designated by viewers and will display the name above them at all times. Viewers will now be able to interact with the integration on the go. Addition to features. Feet. Okay. Okay. Very cool. Okay, so I guess we cook a meal now. Now we must build a shrine, but first we will need more followers and more gold, both of which can be found when crusading through the lands of Old Face. Our mutual benefactor, the one who waits, has been trapped by the 4 bishops of the Old Faith. Each of them guards a chain that binds him to the realm beyond. We have conjured opening to the realm, and we cast to track them down and slay them so he may be freed. And now go, they shall find gold and willing recruits, and for those who are not willing, convert them by force. What's up, Ali? And that voice is done. They call me the Mushroom because I be rooming on them mushes. Oh, chat, I decided to play this on the hardest difficulty mode, by the way. You ready? Let's go!
I have plans. You cannot make a cult person yet because we have not gotten any cult people yet. Of course I did. Ah! I have a plan and I'm going to win! Oh my god, they gave me a sword already! No, and they only gave me 1 heart. Oh well, I'm sure it's fine. Wah, 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 wah. Real recognize real, but nobody's as real as me, so nobody recognize!
How can this be? You were put to the blade, lamb, as all your kind were, and yet you stand before me, unrepentant. The crown is power. Could it be? But I'm stronger still. Turn tail and run, little lamb.
You cannot defeat me, I'm a sheep!
Sorry. I'm just feeling a little silly goofy, chat. I hope you know that.
And then there was so many of them, and all I could do, oh no. Bleep bleep, I'm a sheep. I said bleep bleep, I'm a sheep.
Bleep, bleep, I'm a sheep. I said bleep, bleep, I'm... Wait. Me too, but with Gene voicing it, but maybe not as... What? You sure you don't want me to make all of them just...
Ah, it's me, I'm here. Ah!
Praise, little lamb. Conduit of great power, promise liberator of the one that waits below. So the cards show me once many lifetimes ago, or has that yet to be? I am always drawn your cards, lamb, and yet this is the first. Take these cards, and I will draw another each time we meet. When drawn by me, they grant you power.
That's a beep, beep, I'm a sheep, I'm a sheep.
Better chests.
Oh no, it's an ad break.
Your deck decides fate. You must find more of your crusades, and I will draw from them. Look upon it now. Nice. Chat, I need to make the TikTok today about me stalking people. Somebody don't let me forget to make the stalking TikTok. Oh, that anybody who follows me, I stalk. Anybody who follows me on anything, I stalk. So I just wanted to make a TikTok about it because I thought it'd be funny. True sight, 10% chance to do a critical hit. Oh, that's sick. Yeah, anybody new who follows me, I immediately go check out their profile. Every one of them. Yeah, I mean, some people are, yeah. A lot of people don't have anything on their profiles, but some people, I mean, wow. I don't have anything to hide, right? Yeah. Should I go take a look at yours, fandom? The way you're saying it makes me think I should, take a look at you. Do we read rock or I will take some vegetables. The vegetables. You good?
I don't believe you. I think you're lying to me. You wouldn't lie to me, would you? You wouldn't say any lies to me. You would never do that, right? Not to me, of all people.
Well, good. You shouldn't lie to me. What do you mean?
I'm just a little guy. I'm just like a little small little guy. That's all I am. That's all I've ever been.
Hey, better sword. Yay! Run. Nothing would happen. I just lock you back in the cage again, as I should. Shouldn't I be doing that? Wow, I do not move around a lot. I need to move more. I need to start going meow, 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 meow. Just lock you in the cage. That seems not good. I can feel fate's hand on the cards this night. Ooh, do I want more help? We'll take a Shield of Faith. I don't need to reveal that. You cannot argue with the draw. No snacks. Yep, exactly. No snacks if you lie. No snacks if you lie. Getting rid of all snacks. I'm not gonna let you in the car. No car ride either. I know how much you love car rides, chat. No walkies, no car rides, no snackies. I'll even take the tea if you lie. I'm sorry. Vo is doing what? Who's Vo watching? Who's the lovely Aiko watching? So who are you watching? Was my mic not coming through? Give me a second. Testing. Why will my mic not work? Go on second, chat. There it is. So, Aiko, who you watching? I can hear them in the background. Who you watching? Who you watching? Come on, tell me. Come on, speak. Aiko, come on, speak. Yeah, so you might as well tell me now. Oh, Fantacrow? Yeah, no, that's valid. I get that. All right, that's acceptable. That one's fine. I'll give him that one. Thank you for the stretch. Oh, and thank you for the follow. Sorry, Julie, I didn't notice. I got distracted. And heck, I get that. Vanta's a really good streamer. Am I jealous? No, not even a little bit. Thank you for the contribution. Oh. You've come far enough, little lamb. My followers are willing to do anything for me. Can you say the same of yours? I give myself to the cause, O mighty leader. By the blood of the great old ones, destroy the red crown. I sound jelly? I sound jelly, do I? Alright, well, we've really messed up here a little bit. Alright, we're locked in. Oh, shoot. There we go. So, oh, I messed up. Not too bad. We can get this one next time. I shall not allow it, for I still have need of you. Take what you have gathered, build and strengthen the cult. This is how power is gained. Continue undaunted. Each time you're brought down, you rise again stronger. What are you jealous of? Silverfang, what are you jealous of? All around me are familiar places, worn out faces, worn out places. Happy birthday, no tune. Oh, axe! I can ask you a question now. Yes! I'm so excited for this one. Yeah. You. What do you mean gun? Ugh, it's gonna take me a while to get used to the timing on this. America, fuck yeah, coming to save the motherfucker now.
America, fuck yeah.
Na 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 na. Easy. The Warhammer. Honestly, this one is kind of slow too. I'm not sure if I like it that much. Pick up the card. Ooh, never mind. I like it. What do you mean you can throw the axe? How? What do you mean you can throw the axe? Can I throw the axe right now, or is that something I unlock later? Y'all are
Look at the
allowed
photo
to
dump on
watch.
Discord again. We are loyal.
You know, you are all allowed to watch other people too. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. You're not allowed to legally watch me? What the heck? Fortune's Blessing's not gonna help me at all. Look, right now, chat, I will admit, like, I'm not moving around a lot. I'm not being that entertaining. Oh, yes, you are legally required to watch me. Never mind. Everybody else can watch other people, too. In fact, like, as long as you have, like, me up on one device and somebody else up on another device, that's, like, totes fine. Totes fine, my guy. But no more than that. Exactly. I need to get more entertaining. I know I'm as entertaining as normal, but I need to be more entertaining. And I know what I can do. I need to adopt like a streamer accent. Is it okay to play No Man's Sky? Of course it is. Like Pog Chat. You guys, is this the voice that will make, like, you think I'll get more viewers if I always do this voice? You're such a sussy little baka. Ooh. Sorry, I'm just not gonna do that. You would, Ellie. Yeah, of course you do. Of course you do. No, you like pathetic men. I know you do. Oh. Alright, chat, I'm just really gonna try my hardest here, okay? I can't do heavy attack yet, I'm sorry. I'll do better next time. His pacing is off. Chat, I'm sorry I'm so bad at this game. I'm such a bad streamer. I'm trying my hardest to be better just for you. Ooh, Crusader Blade 2. Hell yeah. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for contributing. Yeah, mass overall weapon damage increase. Heck yeah. Your card's been drawn. Oh, gibbets. I'm glad you're not one of them gibbets. No, I just said I'm glad gibbets is not one of them, Vanya. I didn't say that I don't want you not to be. There we go. No, I said I'm glad gibbets is not one. I didn't say I don't like the ones who are. Bruv. All right, here we go. Transform from the Asmodeus. Asmodeus. Rock me, Asmodeus. Done.
Oh, what a little guy. Oh, he's a little guy. Please spare me. Convert me to your cult and I'll follow your teachings faithfully.
Nah, Gene, how you doing? Nah, I'm be doing. You know how I be. Nah, how you doing? Unlocked.
Doing your mom. You know we start with straight doing your mom.
Heretics defeated. Here we go. Open my throat and, Very good, my vessel. It seems I've chosen well when I kept you from death. I will be watching your every move. Do not disappoint me. Thank you, Allie. I'm relieved to see you've made it safe, and you have not returned alone. You have convinced more to join our faithful flock. Let us indoctrinate this new convert so we may continue.
Please spare me.
All right, chat. Follower raffle. I don't know what you have to do to participate. Is there a redeem? Or it should be in the overlay. There should be an overlay on the screen. You might need a refresh. There should be an overlay. I don't know if there's anything else. Ah, somebody joined. We're doing great, chat. Oh, now there's 3. Amazing. Oh, I think maybe it's send cult follower. There's 4 participants. All right, you ready? Actually, I don't know how many it needs to start. Oh, here we go. You ready? 5, 4, 3. There's also a mobile app, apparently. So you might just need to look up how to do it on mobile. Aeronaut! Oh, you're good. And you're polyamorous. Heck yeah. You can go mine rocks. Thank you. Pizza! But to collect devotion, you require a shrine. It's time. Shrine time. Shrine time. All right, chat. Let's do it again. You might need a refresh. We got 6 entrants. Let's do it. Silver Fang Rose. Lovely. You're terrified of dying. Okay. Oh, we have another one. All right, chat, let's do it again. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Addie! There's Addie. You're sickly, but you gain 10 faith when falling ill. Okay, so you like being sick, and you can be pet. Wait, what do you mean you can be pet? There should be an overlay. That's amazing. Welcome. There's Aeronaut. Let's see if I can pet you. Yep, I can pet you. We need more Brock. Stop the rock, can't stop the rock, you can't stop the rock, can't stop the rock. Stop the rock, can't stop the rock, you can't stop the rock. The temple's gonna go way back in this. Oh, gotta break that first. Is there a turtle? I didn't build it. Gotcha. Armadillos. The temper is the center of your cult. From there, you will preach sermons, grow stronger, perform rituals to mold the fragile minds you followers. Alright, let's go do a speech. Speechy time.
Armadillo. Ah.
Sermon. Alright, buddy, hear me speak. You smell stinky. Ah, made you have more faith. Amazing. Oh, heck yeah. Permanent heart gain. Perfect. You're amazing to behold, a natural leader. Alright. Cannibalism, I hardly know her. All right. Ooh, dagger. I'm excited. Let's do it. New creature to kill. Fun, fun. Shoot. Yeah, no, it lets your character talk if there's a character alive. Okay. I'm so ready, chat. Let's go. Give me my tarot card. What's up, Vanya? What's up, Vanya's? Dog butt. What do you mean, dog butt? Has to be donkey butt to make it flow right. Needs enough syllables. Guess what, dog butt? Bro's the dog butt. Wow! Wow! Rude! Don't ask me how I did it. I just did it. It was hard. Don't ask me how I did it. I just did it, and it was hard. It's gonna suck if I'm good at this game. What's this? Oh. Maybe I keep this one. I grow hungry. I loves the crunch. I will buy it. I only say it will suck if I'm good at this game, because then y'all gonna get expectations about me. You're like, what do you mean? Gene can play this game good. Why can't he play other game good? Wait, was I supposed to feed them? Yeah, but I can't focus on people. Thank you. I haven't learned to keep my expectations low. So rude to me. I did get hit once. Okay, what do we have? Eons ago, these lands were rife with gods and their adherents. What befell the Pantheon, at least his nature of beast to forget and of gods to be forgotten. Mayhaps they left, mayhaps they slept, mayhaps they devoured in turn. Those few who remained spread roots, spun webs, molded those words into meaning them and theirs. 'Twere a land of many gods once, hundreds now. Very cool. I'm gonna keep the dagger. Statue of the beast desires gold. Statue rewards an abundance of food. I wonder what will happen. They give gold was stolen. The statue's angry. That's it? I thought it would do something. Oh, shoot. Okay. 2. All right. Shoot. Okay. Shoot. Okay. I didn't realize running into them is going to cause damage. I know that now. All right, let's take a little break here, lovelies. How's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? You all doing good? You all being happy? Go to sleep. Go to sleep. God, Mia, you don't have to hang out for the entire stream. I know you enjoy it, but you be dancing. Vibes. Get some eeps. You don't want it? Why don't you? You know, maybe I'll go watch Vanta. Chat, I'm gonna watch Vanta when we stream. Because clearly they're the better streamer. Vanta Crowbringer. Hey, you're fine. Carmia, what's your power like? Come here, Carmia. What's your power level? What's your power level? I'm kidding. I'll stop. Okay, so. I don't want to declare a doctrine. Oh, you're coming near the end of stream. Wow. Hates me, I knew it. All right, a new doctrine. Oh, I guess we're gonna dance around fire. Chat's gonna be the dancey cult. No, you hate me. I knew it. Y'all just hate me. Chat is gonna be the dancey cult. Boop 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 doo. Sherman. Did you hear that? Chat, did you hear that? Aiko just goes, oh, my volume was down. How could I have heard your stream? Aiko didn't even call me on Thursday for our meeting that we do every week. Thank you for the check-in, puppy. Pink, you know I do. No, Pink, I need you to stay. I was asleep most of the bonds of your enemy of husband.
Okay.
I don't hang out with almost anybody. The only reason I hang out with Aiko every week is because we do the art stuff. Why are you upset? Stop arguing, you two. Aiko's one doing all the arts. Oh, Pink, why do you not have... Pink, did you unfollow me or something? You used to have an artist badge. Help you sleep? Can't really help you there. Yeah, Pink, did you unfollow me? At some point? Because I used to have an artist badge, and I have not taken any artist badges away. Oh. Did they have it at the beginning of stream? They just not have it now? Did you unfollow me during this stream? I'll figure it out. Pink, I didn't realize you were watching Vanta. You just outed yourself. I don't know, we'll have to figure it out. Yeah, maybe you left it in Vanta's chat. You should go check to see Vanta's chat to see if it's there. No, I did not remove it. If it is gone, I will figure out why it's gone. Why are you pooping? How do I... Ah, my knee. Everybody poops. It's to the tune of Everybody Hurts.
Everybody poops sometime.
I said beep beep, I'm a sheep. I said beep beep, I'm a sheep.
What's up?
Great leader, when times are tough, we can cook grass meals. Followers won't like it, but it's starving. Try it now.
Okay. I guess we're cooking grass, chat? Radioactive shrimp from Walmart. Okay, we need gold and I need log. Okay. Hello, Keely. Bah. Bah. Excuse me. No dick, no balls, and probably no butthole.
Meow, meow, meow. Meow, 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 meow.
Touch of Turura.
Bane sword.
Jenny Addy is watching someone else.
Who is
This
who
is
is
my
Eddie
revenge on
watching?
Next
Who's
to
Addy
Steve
watching?
Trace, Miko's House Hige.
I already know Addie doesn't like my streams. I already knew Addie didn't like my streams. It's okay. No, it's okay. No, I understand. I understand you don't like my streams. I mean, I don't like my streams.
I do
so
like
it's
your
fine.
streams, please. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I know they're boring. I know nobody could ever like my streams. Ghost hunting. Ooh, fun.
Addie is lying. She is watching Stop Me When Else.
Hooah. What do we got? Ooh, nice. Hi, Hikaru. How you doing? Been a little bit. How you doing, Hikaru? What are you up to? Yeah. Well, the thing is, people also were like bulk opening a bunch of different streams. I think that's where the real issue was. You've acquired a pile of hay! I told everyone had beautiful eyes. Oh, I mean, you have pretty eyes too. What do we got for cards? That sounds amazing. But I don't mind. Gaming's going well.
Hello, Gene. I'm a bit tired from work, but I am now at home chilling. It's always nice to see you. How's the gaming?
Gaming's going well. I'm enjoying it. Thank you for asking. I don't know if we have any money for this.
Addie and Vo are cheating on this instant. They both have you on Beach, and Addie is watching Porcelain Maid.
Wow. Wow. What a shame. What a shame. It's okay. They're allowed to hate me. I just think it's funny because that means I gotta bully people more.
Praise be to the Lamb. What be the name of this glorious cult?
I don't think I have a name yet. I was gonna go watch Vanta. Man, that's lame. Well, when this call gets a name, I'll let you know. I wanted to see what a better streamer does for their stream. No, watch Joel. I like Joel. Do you know me and him are in a, me and him are technically in an abridged series together. Step forward, beast. From swinging mist chaos around. Allow me. I don't actually know. You can carry the weight of 8 centuries.
Bane Sword 2. There we go. Nice. That's really fine. I don't mind it. There you go. I messed up. Shoot. There we go. Thank you for the follow, Nuxcat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How you doing, sweetie? So I'm a little hyper-focused on this game. I'm trying to prove that I can be good at a game. Don't. This is a stupid cat. Master overall weapon increased damage. Heck yeah! Love it. All right, let's do it. It's time. Time to show us. This is fun, isn't it? Roof. Roof. All right. Nope. Come on. Do that. Roof. Ooh, that was almost bad. I did not call you dumb. Call the cat dumb. You're not a cat, you're a raccoon. Or a turtle. Ooh. Ooh. No, draw your dog for him, please. Hello, Draconia. How you doing? How you doing, Draco? Wait, more damage? And
When
faster?
you get to the cannibalism, can we eat gibbets?
No, we can't eat gibbets. So the dagger's just better. The dagger's just better. Ah, shoot. Okay, I'm failing this one. One, two. Oh, I don't remember what I said.
1, 2. Three, 4. She's okay. 1, 2. 1. I ran into. Oh my. Oh God. Oh, that was so stupid.
Blood for the blood god. Skulls for the skull throne.
Rude.
Blood for the blood god. Skulls for the skull throne. Blood.
Joining chat, saying hello, and being greeted warmly goes above and beyond. That always brings a smile to my face, and you are always fun. You are a grow.
Well, thank you, Hikaru. I appreciate it. That was really cute. All right, chat. I think we're gonna finish up here in a little bit. Just gonna go through here, see if I can build anything or if I unlocked anything. I don't think I have. Oh yeah, let's start building beds. That's so cute, though. What do you mean, don't leave? Did that just upgrade? Oh, what do you want? I am cleaning up. Oh, chat, here we go, raffle time. Join up, lovelies. There should be an overlay on the stream. All right, 3, 2. Allie won! Congratulations, Allie! Oh, there's another one. Let's do it again. Come on. Four, 3,
2, 1.
Gibbets won. Congratulations, Gibbets. Oh, we have one more. All right, what we got? Five, 4, 3, 2, 2.5, 2 3/4, 1. Moon, welcome, Moon. Congrats. You can go get some stone. Why are you mad? Oh, let's make food. All right, let's harvest some veggies.
Y'all keep making such a mess. Dude. Got an incredible stick, apparently. How did y'all poop so much? Okay, I think we're good. Too much poop. An absurd amount of poop. Alright, now we can make some food. There we go. Can I make one person a farmer? Is that an option? Okay, let's see. How's your faith? Not yet, apparently. Maybe I unlock it later? Why are you two arguing? Okay, need more monies. Since when is that a thing I can do? Go to bed, Carmia. Okay, we're gonna do this last thing here, and I think we should be good. Alright. Dance, chat, dance! Oh, only a little dance. Sermon. Ah. Eepy. All right. Okay. Okay. Amazing. Don't bonk me. Why'd I get bonked? How dare you, Mabel? You bonked me. You're so rude to me.
You're so rude to me. Nah.
Alright, I think I want to give it one more attempt, chat. I guess we need to go to Lonely Shack real quick. I don't have a fart button. Why would you fart on me? Oh, hey, y'all can be rats now, chat. Chat can be rats. Interesting. Interesting. I'm so confused. This guy feels sus. What's this? Okay. Alright, chat, we're gonna play Knucklebones. Match dice. Alright, let's go. Very risky what I'm doing right now. Okay, cool. Ah, dang it. I should have left it. Oh, you're kidding me. Oh, good. Good. Okay, let's stall this one out another round. No! Ah! Come on, give me something good. Whew. There we go. Here's your prize. I need to do it again. I need to do it again. I want to play again. Yes. I have no money. I have no money. I have no money. What do you mean, Leo time? Damn it. Okay.
So anyway, I started blasting.
I have no money, chat. Apparently I can play against you as well. Alright, fine. We'll go 5 more minutes. Except we're going to do that in just chatting, chat. Woo! We have 5 more minutes. Yes. As a fake out, how have you all been? Have you all been good? Did you all have a good stream?
I had a lovely stream with you all. I think you all have been very, very fun and cool. You just nap time. You've been off and on here all night. I don't know when you were here and when you weren't here. Upgrade the shrine. Heck yes, we've done it. Okay. You got here once. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. We did a lot today. Do you? I'm glad you enjoy watching this. That's kind of cute. Chat, you can contribute one more time. Let me clean up all the poops. Well, I missed you. Yeah, the longest I really want to do is going to be like, what you say. But it costs so much money to build anything. 3 hours is really my longest. After that point, I start feeling very, very tired. We're going to save. I think it's saved. Let me make sure it's saved. Save. There we go. Okay. Okay. Also, yeah, it's just my arms really hurt. I was working out earlier and I kind of hurt my hands a little bit. But besides that, it was a lot of fun hanging out with you all. I'm looking forward to looking at the prices of everything. I mean, hopefully it's not insanely expensive when I have these VTuber models made. We will see, though. We will see. Oh, look, I got new followers on Twitter. Wait, Silverfang Rose, you followed me on Twitter, and so did you, Key, and then we have Dragon with a beard. Why have you all followed me on Twitter? I appreciate it. I think it's cool. But very cool. Oh, they do fun art. Look at this. Because I'm going to stalk them. Really? Well, hello. So that's why you've done this. Speaking of, I need to make that video tonight. Your Twitter's dead? That's fair enough, fair enough. Well, my lovely, lovely, lovelies, we are going to find somebody to raid tonight. So let's see who we can raid to. Who do we have? Why does this person always do collabs? I'd love to raid them if they're just playing by themselves sometime, but they're always doing collabs. Well. Interesting. Who's here? Hello, Addy. I'm not raiding into porcelain maids. They are too big. They are too large. They scare me. Who's this? Ira Gobert. Keeper. Oh, Keeper's playing Pacify. Yeah, we'll go say hi to Keeper. You all say hi to Keeper for me? Oof. Okay. Here we go. Ooh, I'm a little tired, chat, but we're going to do this. All right, grab that raid message. And it is time for me to leave, lovelies. It has been a great stream. You all are amazing. I appreciate you all so very, very much. Mwah. Bye for now, everybody. Be good.